Ladies, gents, and everyone under the sun, welcome back to another episode of the Container Podcast. Today, I'm with my boys, as always, Kyle
Hello.
and Jacky.
Yo, yo, yo.
For episode 5, we'll have many things to talk about. This time it's gonna be mixed, not only video games or something another thing completely. It's gonna be a mix between a movie review, the past homework, right? Video game, very anticipated and talked about. It's Cyberpunk, that big blockbuster that we've been promised multiple times, that was delayed again and again, but now it's supposedly releasing soon, so we'll talk about that. And we'll start from that, and if we have time, we'll add a special surprise subject. Let's start.
Alright,
Kyle,
so
guide us through.
Yeah, I was the one that proposed the movie, so I'll talk a bit about it and then we can discuss about it. So the movie that I proposed is called... Alright, I'm gonna butcher this because for whatever reason, it's the only goddamn word in the English language that I cannot pronounce. Hereditary.
Oh,
Yeah, that was good, yeah, that was
try.
Not that bad. Anyways, it's a horror movie. I'm not a big fan of horror movies. Actually, I don't listen to horror movies. It's not my thing. I get scared easily, and I think about horror movies over and over. Like if I watch it, I honestly have nightmares. So that's why this was one of the first horror movies that I watched and actually enjoyed. Again, I don't think it's the greatest horror movie ever or even movie. I just think it showed different stuff that we're not used to with the normal dramatic movies and stuff. It did stuff that I was finding that was unique. So that's why I proposed it. And also I know that you guys are also not huge horror fans. So I was
Not
like,
at
alright.
all, yeah.
So maybe I get to scare you guys a bit, or I get to
You were banking on that.
just have a discussion, even if yeah. So I'll maybe give a little description about what the movie is.
Yeah, go for it.
So it's pretty much just a family. Their grandmother dies, and you learn through the movie that she's a bit suspicious. Like it looks like she was maybe into a cult, and stuff starts.
Grandma was sus, man. Grandma sus.
Yeah, she was, and it develops from there. The relationship of the family going through heartbreak and weird stuff going around, and it's just their reaction to it. And it's pretty much the basic. That was not too spoilery, but we're gonna be going into some big spoiler territory soon.
You
So
were
if
supposed to do your homework, boys, so
Yeah, so if you haven't watched it, and you guys want to, pause it, go watch it, and then come back. If not,
you can skip to the next timestamp, right?
yeah, and if you don't give a shit, then you can listen to us. If you really don't want to watch it, no worries. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I can start by saying personally why I really enjoyed this one, and then we can maybe talk about how you guys either liked it or didn't like it, or if you like some sorts of aspects and not. Like I said, horror movies are not really my thing, but this one was the first one where I find I went into it and they didn't use cheap tricks like jump scares and stuff like that. It was a slow burner, and that's what I really liked about it. It was slow. It was just they gave you little pieces here and there, just keep you on your edge, just trying to figure out what the fuck is going on.
Mhm.
And it's just so freaky. It's just a freaky movie. There's some aspects, of course, that I didn't love, but I found that it was, like I said, especially on the way it was filmed, I found it was shot beautifully. The acting was phenomenal. I think the main person in the movie, her name is Toni Collette. I
The
think
mother,
she,
right?
yes, the mother. I think she honestly almost deserves an Oscar or at least a nomination. And I think that when was it in 2018 she was robbed from that. I think her performance was just phenomenal. I don't think I've ever seen a performance like that.
It felt
And
so authentic, right?
yeah, like I'm sure if you guys seen the movie, that scene where they're at the dinner table and the son goes, "Are you okay, mom?" And then she freaks out,
Yeah.
and then she just, and it just, I was just like, wow. I don't know. I got chills thinking about that, you know. And I also like the fact that after when you talk about it and whatnot, you pick up on these little clues that, you know, and when I rewatched it with you guys, I picked up on these little clues here and there that I honestly went over my head, and it was just like, okay, wow, they did that or this or that, and it was just like these little foreshadowings and stuff like that. And I really enjoy foreshadowings being there, especially it makes a re-listen more enjoyable because you
Yeah.
get to
You
catch
had a
up
lot of
on.
fun rewatching the movie with us.
Yeah,
I
so,
could hear it.
and especially it was a tiny budget, you know. I think the budget, if I remember correctly, was like $10 million or something like that. A $10 million budget for a movie, that's pretty impressive, I find, you know.
They did so much with that house.
Yeah, but the decor, the way, and it was just, I think now maybe I'd like to get you guys' opinion because we didn't discuss about it after we watched it. We were trying to save it for that there. So I don't know.
Exactly.
So I don't know who wants to.
I mean, I can start, right?
Yeah, start.
Jacky and I, it was our first watch through, and for you it was your second, but we still managed to appreciate most of the movie. Maybe not all the small intricacies and such, but the most important was really not just felt. We kind of lived it. It was crazy. As Kyle was doing his summary, I was cringing. You could, if you saw my face, I was like I ate a lemon, that kind of sour. Oh, I was like, bro, I can remember he's telling you guys that there is no jump scare, right? But to me, it's something worse, right? It's very graphic sometimes, and you're forced to watch it because it's like the center of the camera view, right? The field of view. And you're like, bro, what the hell? And your hairs begin rising on your arm, and you're like, bro, what the fuck? This was really I had a visceral reaction to a lot of scenes, and it wasn't that bad. I'm not a horror guy, and I think it kind of tells, like it shows. If this movie gave me this much visceral reactions, who knows what worse, what movies that are considered even more like crazy horror movies would do to me. In the end, the acting was really good. I think the story was it was just enough, in the sense that it gave us the mystery that let us ponder on things, and I was really curious to understand the significant, like what everything meant, what why characters were behaving in such a way, why characters did such and such action, what something that has been said that's kind of cryptic. And yeah, I think more will come back to my mind as you guys put your thoughts into the podcast. So go ahead, Jacky. What did you think of the movie?
I have to admit that the first night, because we watched it like it was late in the evening. I think it was like around 10 or 11, and then I went to sleep. And that first night, I didn't sleep well. I remember.
My man didn't sleep well.
Yeah, I didn't sleep well. I mean, there are certain scenes, especially at the end, that are so they're so
Oh,
creepy,
oh,
and they leave you with this mark. Uh, I mean, I don't know if you remember, but it's not like you said. It's not that there are jump scares or that they're just trying to freak you out during the movie, but it's very graphic and it's just it
oh,
just
I
prints
know,
in your
man, I
memory.
know. Do you remember
Yeah,
that scene where she was floating in the air? Oh, I want to throw up as I'm saying this shit.
yeah.
And
When like the boy is sleeping and she leaves the room, but it's it's like if she's swimming in the air
no,
and
no, no,
you
not this one. I'm talking about the one in the rooftop, not the rooftop, the, you know, the
The
thing,
attic
the attic, yeah. Bro,
when
what
she's
the fuck was that? She was like
floating and
sawing her own head off or something like
yeah.
that.
yeah, okay, yeah. Well, yes, but was she floating? I don't
Yeah,
remember.
she
Like,
was flying in the air.
oh man, I thought that she was hanging from the like from the ceiling, and that she was cutting her head off. But okay,
Uh,
yeah, I guess
uh,
I didn't see that correctly. Maybe.
uh, uh,
But yeah, me, it's like this is at one point like we're heading toward the climax. You know, at this point, like his mom, she grabs onto the ceiling as he goes. What's like the upper part of the like the ceiling? I don't know what it's called, but when he's hiding there and then like she bangs her head against the ceiling.
oh,
Oh yeah, that was
And you know, at this point, it's like it's very tense and it's going very fast. But for me, it's even the small scenes, just like when the father burns down, and then you see in the back, like you see a silhouette of a guy just standing there
yes.
in the black, in the dark. He's just standing there and he's watching, and you cannot even see his face, but you know he's fucked up because you
I mean, who stands in a corner naked with a big grin on his face
oh my god, yeah, I
without
mean,
moving an inch?
well, this is what I'm saying. You know, it's those kind of scenes that when you go to bed at night, and then
yeah.
you sit in your bed and you look at the corner, or you look at your wardrobe, or you look at the door, and then you see like a shadow, and then you.
Ah,
Well, yeah, I didn't sleep well that night. I didn't sleep well. Yeah, this is what I want to start with. Then from the first shot, you can appreciate the quality of the camera and how it's filmed during the whole movie, because as soon as it starts, you're never comfortable with the way that they give you the camera angle, like the camera angle that they choose, and the way like they swipe the whole room. I mean, I was never comfortable with that, and immediately when it starts, it gives you this tension and the suspense, and it just starts building, and you don't feel well. You don't feel well, and for me, like I said to Momo when I was watching, uh, when she what is it called? Like when she has like the small house model, and she does like these model with the small characters and everything. As soon as I saw that, I was like, oh my goodness, that looks so fucked up. The way that they transition from the model onto the real thing, and
yeah,
yeah,
like she reproduces real life places and objects, and they transition from the either the real place to the room where she works on those models, and
yeah, and
or
as the
vice versa, right?
yeah, and as the movie like goes forward and it's toward the end, like she starts like designing these weird models of places. Like at one point, like she designs the funeral house. I don't know what it's called, but where they held like the
For
funeral
the
of the grandma.
service,
I'm sorry.
where they held the service.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that room. Like she reproduces that in the model, and I look at it. I was like, oh my goodness, it's so fucked up. And it's all those details. It's all these small things that are not, as you said, like big jump scares or like pursuit or like heavy breathing sequences. It's just like these small details, the way they build up the tension until the end. I think that was remarkable, and I enjoyed that part. However, for me, like the big trouble with this movie, it's the story. From where it starts and where it ends. I'm not like I think it's really personal, but I'm not a big fan of the supernatural. I think straight up that it's stupid. I don't enjoy stories that are built up around supernatural mysteries and legends and everything. I
You
don't
gotta
really like
love
it.
your slice of paranormal shit.
Nah, I don't. I really don't. I'm like I every time I watch some of this, I'm like, this is bullshit. This is get this shit out of my face. I really don't like it. I mean, I watched it for the movie, but for me, it's really it really isn't my cup of tea. I mean, I just find it so um yeah, it's so far from the truth, and it's so far from what we experience in the real world that I think it's hard for me to connect
Suspend
with this
your
kind of
disbelief.
yeah. I think that's it. Yeah, the suspension of disbelief is very hard in those kinds of stories. Yeah, and basically that's it. I mean, from our appreciation, I think when like from a technical point of view, and yeah, I didn't mention the acting, but of course, as Kyle said, the acting of the mother is unbelievable, and that scene at the dinner table is one of the good examples of that.
Yeah.
And I mean,
I don't know, man. Peter, the boy, right? Some scenes he nailed it, but some others he was a little bit underwhelming.
I couldn't. I wouldn't have any problem saying sure that he was maybe the weakest link. But the thing is, when the actress that plays the mother gives performance like that, it's a bit hard afterwards to look at the other ones and go like, yeah, you did a phenomenal job. When it's like, well, one just gave one of the best, scenes of her acting careers, and the other person did a good job, but nothing like that you will remember for the end of times.
Yeah.
yeah, but when you look at the father, like I mean, the father doesn't have like these big scenes. You know, he's like he has to be like
But
the
they're
strong
supporting
bone. Yeah,
characters.
yeah, exactly. He's a supporting character. He's a strong bone of the family, and he's just trying to make everything easier for everyone. But I mean, the son, I think I didn't like the performance of the actor because I think I don't know if it's because of the script. I don't know if it's like part of the story, but I think it was like he was overdoing it. Maybe I didn't appreciate it. I didn't like him. He was I don't know. I didn't like his performance. I thought it was um you know doing too much. I think it was too much.
Too
Basically
much or
that.
maybe too little also, because most of the movie they wrote him as someone that was like connecting more and more with that parallel dimension, and he was always phasing out, looking into space and trying to figure out where the spirit would attack or something like that. Like there were a little bit too many scenes like that for me in the movie. But at the same time, they had a purpose, right? They all led up to that final sequence that was simply breathtaking. I think that the movie, the way it concludes, the way it reaches its climax, it's really memorable.
Okay, what's the climax for you? What would you say is the climax?
The climax is when they finally when dad, like, it starts rising, right? When
Mm-hmm.
dad gets burned alive. Poor dude, man. I was kind of shocked by the scene itself. And then time passes by, and she gets possessed, the mother. And as it keeps on rising, right, there is a chase sequence in the house and everything. they get up into the attic, and it keeps on building and building, and then he throws himself from the window, and you think that he's dead, right? And once I think he died, right? That's what happened. And he gets possessed from then on, if my memory.
Yeah, I think that's what it's meant to imply.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
there's one thing that I
So to
wanted.
me, the climax is when he throws himself out of the window. This is the
Okay.
climax.
Okay.
So yeah, all that scene into the how they wrap everything up with the cult and everything. It was really something. I was like, oh my god. Oh my god. This was all leading up to this innocent ass movie that started as it started. A weird little girl that was misunderstood, that tragically dies. And what a death, bro. I thought that she was going to die of her allergies, not like that.
I think that was the horror element that really honestly scared me the most out of the whole movie, even more than the end. The ending I find it's nothing compared to that scene. I find the dread, because you know something's bad's gonna happen to her. You know it with a certainty. As
Yeah.
soon as she comes out of that
House. The
that
house
the
party.
house, yeah, the house party, you're like, something's gonna happen. She's gonna die some way, and you don't know how.
Exactly. I was like, time is going to be up soon, but how?
But yeah, and I think that it leads well to what you said earlier about you not liking Supernatural.
Talking to Jacky, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I found that scene was the scariest and the best scene of almost the whole movie, was because of that. Was because of it's something that it's very not unrealistic, but
Not plausible.
not
Like, yeah.
not likely to happen, right? The chances of that happening are pretty likely. And I don't know. We need a physicist to tell us that it's impossible or whatever. But holy shit, that scene I find it's just so, because it could still be possible. That's why it's so scary, because like you said, if you throw a book in the fire, you're not gonna catch on fire, no matter how many fucking books you put in, right?
Yeah.
But that scene, it gave me creeps. It made me feel so uncomfortable. And I remember when after watching that movie, I was in the car that night driving, and I looked at my rear view mirror. I almost crashed my fucking car. I was so scared, because it's the same thing as the son does. He looks in the rear view mirror and sees the girl decapitated, and he's just like,
That
fuck.
scene,
I do
yeah.
agree.
It was so
I
heavy.
agree on that. No, that scene is very, very intense, and it's very good. I think what's very good about it is the way that when he goes to the party, there's like not a shot up close, but you see like the little symbol that they use during the movie on the
Yeah, on the
The
post.
cult symbol, yeah.
yeah, you see it.
On the post, yeah, where she hits her head.
Yeah, exactly. So when the car comes back, and then he just like does a quick hit on the steering wheel to just like turn a little bit the car, and then she has her head popped out and then he dies by the electric pole. I mean, it's all these. I mean, everything led up to this moment, and it's all like coincidence. When you look at it, it's all like these small coincidences that just add up, and then in the end, she dies, and she dies the way it was intended. I mean, there's because correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there's this whole you have to get the head detached from the body for the ceremony or whatever. There's something like that, right?
Yeah.
I kind of forgot about the requirement for the ceremony.
Yeah, I think, but yeah, that's the point. I think that was a requirement, but at that moment you don't know it yet. So this scene is very horrible, and the way he looks at the rear view mirror he sees her. Well, what's left, because I mean, you cannot see his face.
They don't
But
show us, right? They leave us like looking straight at Peter's eyes, the driver, right? And you see the dread, the terror. He can't even breathe.
yeah, and then he goes home. He parks the car, goes to his bed, sleeps
Tries
at
to
night,
sleep.
and then in the morning, it's
Oh,
the mom
You hear the
of
screams.
everybody in the car. Yeah, you hear the screams, and yeah, I mean that scene was that was quite something. I have to admit that was quite something, and yeah, it's so uncomfortable the way that when she pops her head out, you just hear the bang when she hits the pole. Oh God.
Oh yeah,
but
and
yeah,
can we talk about that mom that was so strange at redoing the scene and the head of her girl and the post where she
Oh
got the
yeah.
contact and
yeah,
everything, and she like did a scaled down version of that exact scene, and I was like, why the fuck are you doing all that shit for? And I was like, to me it made me question grieving. I was like, does somewhere out in the world people do this kind of shit to grieve? Like I'm like,
Gosh.
what the fuck?
no, I found that was really cool. There, it was just so fucking weird, and
Yes.
it's like, oh shit, she lost it. She's gone. Like
Yeah.
it's and I think that's why I also wanted to talk to you guys about show you the guys this movie. It's what do you guys think of the title? Like, what does it mean? Why would they call it that?
Because of the grandma and the little girl, the link they had, right? And then how the mother, in the end, she got possessed. And then the Peter, that was like the key to the cult's ambitions, right? Ambitions. I think that's the thing, right? It's hereditary. It's the genes. It's
Yeah, but I also see it as and this might turn off Jacky because I know he might not always love those things there, but this could be just and that's what I like really about this movie. It's that they don't answer it; they leave it just as a suggestion with the name of the movie and a couple of conversations that they have and mentions here and there that the husband of the grandmother had mental illness and she had mental illness and then the just little stuff like that. It's going like, okay, well maybe they're just uh they all have mental illness and they're like just inventing that in their minds and it was passed down through the family that mental illness and everything. And that's what I like about it is that they don't go, oh, it was all in their head, it's fake. They don't do that. They just
Oh
put
yeah.
that little thing in them just for you to go like, huh,
maybe.
Yes, maybe. Yeah. No, you're right about that. This
That's actually kind of crazy. Yeah.
yeah, but it's funny that you mentioned that because you're totally right. I mean, I really don't like these kinds of things. All it was all in their heads. You know me. You know I don't like that. And what's funny about that is that I don't like the supernatural. But what I don't like even more is this kind of stuff. I mean, if they had pulled this off, like oh well, it was all just a dream because of their mental illness, or they didn't see like reality straight. This would have been even worse. I think I
Imagine,
would have.
imagine they end on a black screen with white lettering, and they type, "Mom was sinking into dementia further and furthermore, and her
that would have
family
been
was
bad.
taking care of her until they put her in a hospice or something like that."
Yeah, no, this would have been bad. I mean, yeah. In this case, I would have definitely hated the movie. Seriously, I wouldn't have liked it.
But that's
So
what I think they played that fine line so good because it's been overdone that it's all been a dream, it's all in their head, it's mental illness. They overdid it, right?
Hmm.
But I still think if you can show that in an interesting way where you just give clues about it, where it could be complete bullshit or it can be completely true and not answer it. I enjoy that because that's just like, it's up to you. It's not him. He didn't decide, the director or the writer, of is it a mental illness or not. He just mentions it, and it makes you discuss about it, makes you look at clues a certain way. That's what I like about it.
Ah, okay, I see. Okay, I see what you mean. You mean that maybe all this is just about the mental illness of the family.
It's
That's
open.
what you.
It's an
It's open to
open-ended.
that. It's possible. That's
Yeah.
what you mean.
Exactly, and
Okay,
and they don't answer it, and that's what makes it good. They don't go, no, it is, no, it isn't. They just showed us a movie, and then you have to interpret. Okay, yeah, for sure it was mental illness, and it's not true, and
Well, I mean, I would appreciate that. Honestly, I would, because I think that would be a clever way to show something. It would be original, and yeah, I would appreciate that. But I don't know. I think that the way that they introduce all these supernatural elements, I think it's not meant to be like, oh well, this is a consequence of mental illness or of dementia or whatever. I think it's a classic horror movie. I mean, I don't think. Well, maybe there is. I didn't see it. If there is, I just didn't see the point. The point went like over my head. I missed it. But to me, when I look at the movie, to me, it's just like, well, there are supernatural elements in this movie. And at the beginning, I think when they first introduce us to the character that she meets for the like at the group
seance.
meeting. Yeah, exactly. When she meets that woman and she goes, "Oh yeah, I talked to my son or my grandson," and yeah,
And
I
every
think
time she's like, no, 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 no. Please listen to me until the end. I know that you would reject those kinds of ideas, right?
yeah, exactly. So when you have these types of elements, you start to see how they play on the line. When they at this moment they have not committed to one or the other side. I mean, they're saying, well, it's possible, but I mean, the reaction that usually the audience is going to have is like, no way, it's not possible. But then it happens, and everything turns to shit, and then everyone gets killed.
Yeah. I think you would
Oh, you kind of bugged out right there.
maybe prefer, because this director. Sorry,
You're
there's
good
a
now.
there's a
You're good
second
now.
movie. Okay, you guys can hear me good.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a second movie that the director did, and I think you might enjoy it a bit better. You can listen to it if you feel like it. There, I won't put it as a homework in a later episode there, because I'll be honest, it wasn't my favorite movie. I found it so weird. Even think of this movie, but make it even weirder, right? But it doesn't have supernatural tendencies. Like it's not not tendencies, the wrong word. It doesn't have any supernatural elements to it. It's very it's freaky, and there's a lot of weird shit, but it's with a cult and everything again. But it's called Midsommar, and it's about the first time I watched it, after I finished it, I hated it. I think I on my letterbox I gave it like 2 stars. I was like, this is garbage. But then when you rethink about it, you think about some scenes again that are so good and so perfect, and yeah, I really like this director's style. I really like the way he storytells. Sure, it's I don't really like horror movies and stuff, but I think he adds to it, and it's so much different, I find, than Halloween and Friday the 13th and these other horror movies where there's a ghost and that's it. Like this brings, and I think that's what's the strongest part of all of this. It's the actual human elements. It's taking it's like doing a social experiment where you take humans and you put them in a really screwed up situation, and then you see how they react.
Mm-hmm.
And if for example you say the ending, the supernatural elements were not your favorite, I'll be honest, that was mine too. I liked the whole movie. The end was my least favorite part. I still found it was cool visually, but it wasn't my favorite. My favorite part was really through the whole process, seeing them react with grieving and different situation and how they react, and that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I mean,
Probably
I'll
also my favorite part of the movie, like when it got really into the action, right? It was shocking and it left its mark, of course, but the part I enjoyed the most was the more human part, right? I was really enjoying that. I was like, bro, I can empathize, I can relate, and then it it went south real quick.
Yeah, well, just I want to talk about the ending because there's something very interesting in the ending. But before I get there, you ask about like what do you think the title means? What does it mean? And like I just wanted to give him like I think maybe it's the boring answer, but when you look at like all the how the story is structured, I think it's just as simple as well. There is like this curse of like the devil, like one devil like spirit that's reincarnated in a human body, and it goes on in this family, and they're just waiting for the like the new body for the spirit. And then it turns out, well, it's trapped in the body of a girl, so it doesn't work, so we have to get the male body, and that's why it's hereditary. It's because you know through generations the like the spirit goes on and on. I think that's just it. I really think that was the why they chose that title. I don't know
Yeah,
what you guys think.
I mean, as he asked, I responded pretty much the exact same thing, and I'm glad that Kyle at least has a different way of seeing the whole thing, right? With maybe not dementia, but some other mental illness, right? That might be the reason behind everything we saw. So if everyone has commented on the end and the meaning, maybe we can
Wait.
do like an extra round where we go ahead and ask people if they want to add something, and then we can move on to Cyberpunk.
I'm good
Okay.
with that.
So extra round, we begin with Jacky. Jacky, want to add something?
Yeah, the only thing I want to add is when the way I enjoy stories, and one element that I enjoy in stories is when they put down these little dots just here and there. They don't really talk about them too much, and even though if they're bigger or smaller, they just put like these little information, and then I like at the end when everything is connected. I really enjoy that in stories. And you said like the climax is when he jumps out of the window and then he goes out in like the treehouse, and like everyone's waiting, and then he just stands up there. And I just gotta say I love the shot, like the way they just film his face, and you
Hmm.
don't see it, but the woman is there. You can hear her, but you don't see her, but she's there, and she just like explains like, oh well, you're from like this you're the reincarnation of this spirit and whatever. And she explains everything, and then you understand everything. And I love that everyone is kneeling down, and you've got this great scene, the way it's shot. I was like, all right, that's fine. And then before it cuts to black, it cuts to the small model of everyone kneeling down and facing him like in the treehouse.
Yeah.
And I don't know what you guys think about that, and what do you think that means?
Well, it's simple. It's more than a simple evil spirit, right? It's supposed to be a particular king, something like
Yeah,
very important.
The seven demons of hell. I don't know if it's seven or whatever, but it's a demon, and it's like it's Paimon or something like that, and
Yeah, pay
yeah,
something.
he's in the, I don't know if he's in the Bible or anything, but he's in the literature, the scriptures or whatever literature that from the actual church. So this guy is not like the director just invented him. He's exists in the devil and hell lore for centuries. So, but the ending would actually, I don't know. I'll be honest, I didn't even think about that. Like, I think when you guys were watching it, I was watching a live, like you guys watching it on like the live stream there on Discord, and I think as soon as it finished, that scene where I had closed it and I was just waiting. So I don't remember seeing
exactly.
it. So,
yeah. Okay.
I'll be honest, I don't remember seeing that, but that's actually odd. I haven't thought about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
To me, right?
yeah, go ahead.
Like I said, it's like a king, maybe even more than that, right? Some kind of religious figure where you'd say that it's even like a god, right? It's something that people pray to, and absolutely, it's like more than love. It's complete.
I think what Jacky meant was about the at the end, the last shot is the same scene recreated, but in miniature size, like the mother used to do.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's more the point.
Oh, I
It's not the way that
see. Okay.
it's not that they're kneeling down and they're facing him, and I think he puts on a crown or whatever. No, it's very that it cuts from this shot of the treehouse in real life to the miniature size of the model that the mother used to make,
Yep.
and it's exactly the same.
It's
And
like
then
she
I mean,
planned it.
yeah, exactly. That's basically what I was thinking, and what I find interesting. It's that who made this model? Like, it's the model, obviously,
It
but
can't
when did
be
she make
anyone
it?
else than her.
Yeah. So
But,
it's I don't
for
know.
you
So
remember, she gets possessed.
yeah,
Yeah, but why would she make a model at this point?
Because I think maybe, and I'm just freeballing right now. Like I don't have any actual, and I'm not tied to this. I'm just freestyling here.
Go ahead.
I think it's just that when you're possessed, you're still you. You're still in your body, and it's like you haven't lost complete control. So you still there's still that little bit of her in there, and maybe she's she went and decided, I don't know, actually, and now that I do say it out loud, it does sound a bit ridiculous. Why would she stop trying to get the sun and decide, you know what, I'm gonna go build a little house,
Yeah. Well,
to
this
me,
is
right, the more I think about it, and the way Jacky put it, like really clear that the miniature scene was recreated perfectly and before everything happened, it would mean that she planned it, right? It was something that she worked on that can't be done in 15 minutes. So that simply means that as she got possessed day after day, she was planning this thing, right? And maybe we could even say that being possessed is just an excuse. Maybe she was
yeah.
part of the thing all along.
Yes, well, this is yeah, maybe what I was thinking. I mean, we don't have proof of this because, of course, like you don't see it. But I mean, this is why I found that last scene so interesting. Is that, well, what does that mean? Because when you look at all the elements of the story, you say, well, did she know about all of this? Because
And that is weird.
how come? Well, it's just like I mean, it's food for thoughts. I mean, you
I
take
agree.
whatever you want from that, but.
I never thought about it until you spoke about it right now, right on the podcast.
Yeah, well, I don't know, that for me that scene was I don't very interesting, as I said, and it's a bit like Kyle said. It's just they don't like put it in your face. They just like leave it there, and you I mean, you didn't even remember it. I mean, I don't know why, but like you didn't remember it. I mean, so that's why it's so interesting. It's just that it's this small scene. It doesn't like, it's maybe like 3 or 4 seconds shot, and then it's over, and it's the end of the movie, and then you can go home, and then you think, oh well, it's just a model, and then you don't think about it. And me at first, it was the same. I didn't think about it, but as you said, I didn't sleep well that night, so I had time to think about it. And when I thought about it, I was like, "Well, this is surprising. Why did it put this there? Why why did the director showed us this particular scene?" And when you think about it, maybe you say, "Well, maybe that mom was not that innocent, and maybe it's not about being possessed. Maybe it's all according to the family plan."
Yeah, maybe.
But maybe, yeah,
Maybe. I
Maybe
love
we
these
don't.
theories.
It was she had mental illness, and she would forget about it, and
Her inner demons off camera was plotting stuff, you know.
exactly.
Subject
Yeah.
number 2, boys. It's already been 51 minutes. At
Ooh.
least 50, maybe not 51, but you know, just to get a good idea of how much time we have left. Right now, we have to talk about CDProject's Red, Polish dev studio, and their
Wait. I'm just gonna Polish, not Polish.
Polish. Yeah, Polish would mean what they did to the game, not
Make
where
sure.
they come from. Polish.
Great catch.
Just like, you know, their greatest player ever, probably, Robert Lewandowski, the soccer player.
Yeah, I used to see ads on him when I was in Poland and the metro and everything. His big face everywhere.
You see, man, he's an icon there.
More than an icon, he's a superstar there.
Legend, because he should have won, like, we're talking football, sorry guys, but he should have won the 2020 Ballon d'Or, the prize that we give to the best player of the year. He did an incredible year, the last 365 days. Lots of records, scored every time, and has like a crazy ratio of goals scored per game played. He's simply very influential, has won everything with his team, and the Champions League, right? That counts a lot. So, sadly, because of COVID, FIFA decided to cancel the 2020 Ballon d'Or, and everyone is saying that he got robbed. So, he
He got
himself,
Robert.
he got Robert. He himself
course,
says
that-
that he's not so sad because in football what matters is the team and the trophies that they win as a team. So he won everything. He's happy.
Hey,
But he
I think
could've
he
won.
knows deep down that he probably has it, and
Yeah.
you
in
know,
his
and
heart.
it's and everybody just considers, you know, that he's won. So you know, I don't think he's too sad, and I don't think you're too sad if you get paid millions.
Dozens of millions.
Millions and euros, huh?
Yup.
Not pesos.
And if you win, if you score, you get those prime money, like the prize money that
You
comes
probably
with it.
get certain a percentage or whatever, or you know, you
Yeah.
you score a thing, you get a million or whatever.
I really think that he made enough money for himself, his family, the next
not
generation, the
for
generation
sure.
after that, and probably the one that comes after that one.
For sure. Anyways, I think now we'll talk about Cyberpunk.
Yeah, boy. The
So,
game's
are
got
you guys
gold.
are you guys excited about it, or what's your opinion about it?
I'm on the wait and see side.
Okay.
I simply
Yeah,
have been burned way too much this past decade with AAA games. But they have a good track record, so I shouldn't be as doubtful as for other companies.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
about
I
you?
was on that side also. I was thinking, well, maybe I'll just see what happens with the critics and everything. But honestly, I saw the last trailers they did for like driving. Like that's one of the recent
With the cars there?
with the cars. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
it's
of course you saw it. It's your most anticipated
Yeah,
game,
but
guys.
that's the thing is I haven't actually watched any of the trailers except for today they had a live thing or whatever, and it was about the cars and the style. So I was like, okay, I'll give it a watch because it's not
too
like
spoiler.
it's not about the story or stuff like that. So I was just like, okay, I'll give it a go. And the only thing I watched was a 40-minute gameplay when it came out, like not came out, 2 years ago, I think, in 2018, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
It was a 45-minute gameplay that came out, and I was excited, but I was just on the fence. I was like, I don't know, the gameplay doesn't look crisp or whatever, and I don't know. I find they polished it. It looks so much better now, and it looks, the gunplay looks more flowy, more, because that was what I was scared about, was the gunplay.
Yeah,
I was like,
it looked
ooh.
stiff.
Yeah, it did, and I'm really happy that hopefully it's not there. Like I said, I'll give them I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that it is there. But we'll see.
We should talk about what kind of game it is, because the guys at CDProjeckt Red are doing a lot of stuff into one project. Like, we were talking about cars, now guns, and it's an RPG, so you might want to take us and paint us a picture, Kyle.
Okay, well, it's a game set in a cyberpunk world. It's based on a game, actually, on a board game. It's like board game is it's a role playing game, like a bit like D&D.
Okay.
And it's called Cyberpunk, and it's by the I forget his name, but but they used him a lot. They used them a lot to help them out, to get the story correct, and they have the same classes. So, for example,
since
in the game
RPG, there are classes, right?
Exactly. So they have the same. If you played the board game or the role playing game, it's called a tabletop. If you played it, then there's the same classes that get transferred into the video game. So I really like that, because a lot of I didn't play that, but I heard a lot of good things about it, that it was very fun, the world was amazing, and that's what I'm really excited about. I hope the world is you can get lost in the world, and
it should be open, right?
It's an open world game, and it's an RPG. You can create your own characters, and apparently the customization is pretty in depth. You can even customize the genitals of the people from how you call it, the dick size to the breast size. You can
the classic breast size slider in the Japanese games. I know that.
So that's
not real. That's not real.
I'm telling you, it's real, bro. And you pick that.
Go see it. You go see it. You have a slider for even the genital size.
You gotta be kidding me! But like, okay, all right, I guess.
Everyone wants a huge bulge. That's why.
but I kind of like it. I don't think it's if they had it or not. I don't think it'll change that much for me. But I like it that and that's why I'm really excited, because I like games where I create my character and give him the personality that I want, and there's actual decisions that sometimes you create a character and you're like, okay, I want this badass boy that does these fucking says mean shit, or is like a no nonsense character, but then when you come to do your choose your dialogues and stuff, it's not there. So hopefully that's the case, that when I create my character, I'm gonna be able to do him a badass dude, or this badass girl, or not even a badass, just a weirdo or whatever. That's what I want.
The most straight up regular guy that's gonna evolve in a fucked up world.
So I'm excited to see what they're gonna do. I really am excited. I'll be honest, I'm probably am gonna buy this day one.
Day one?
Yeah, day one, just for the fact that I don't think I've bought a game day one. Well, no, that's not true. I bought Last of Us 2 there, but apart from Last of Us 2, I don't think I've bought a game day one in years. So I follow my, a lot of people always say, don't pre-order, just wait until the reviews are out and everything. I've done that. I've been patient. I've been, but I say to myself, I really want to try this game. It looks awesome from what I can see. I'm glad that it's coming out. It's going to be hopefully breath of fresh air, and a good game comes out, and hopefully I have fun.
Well, the devs are doing everything they can for that to be the case. As we heard that they went into crunch to make it happen, right? It was a big thing in the gaming press. Jason Schreier, someone that is doing God's work, to be honest, reporting on some very important news in the game industry, got his hand on some people that work there, and they shared with him the emails that they were sent company-wide. And the emails told them that even though the CEO and everyone in the management told the workers that in CDProjeckt Red, no crunch, they would have to crunch to make the game launch on time. And the reason why they want that is not to miss out on holiday sales. So it's gonna be very important for them to maximize profit, that they launch the game before the holidays. They want those sales. And that's where I want to talk with you guys about the fact that so many great games come with this crunch, right? We might have to go and explain what all this is, but what do you guys think that crunch is at first?
Well, from what I understand, a crunch is pretty much just before a game comes out, it's let's rush, fix all the bugs, fix glaring issues or even small issues, and let's put all our time in. That means overtime goes in, and that means that instead of having a 9 to 5 5 days a week, it goes from being a 9 to 40 hour week to a 60 hour week to a 70 hour week to even sleeping in the office and crunching, like really putting all your time and energy on it to perfect something. Now that's what it is. And when it comes to my opinion, I'm a bit divided on it.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I think it's more negative than positive. In it's just it's positive when you think about selfishly, right? When you put on your selfish helmet and you go, look, they're taking all these bugs out, they're crunching, they're trying to do the most possible. So when I play it, it's the best it can be, right? However, when you think about it, these people, have lives and stuff. They have these, and I know when I have to work and I have to work more than my 40 hours a week, I don't like it, like, yeah, sure, I don't get paid overtime or anything, but if I did, maybe I would enjoy it more. But it's still, when you finish, you want to have time off. You want to have time for yourself. That's when I find you get to hang out with friends, with family and whatnot, and enjoy, have your time for yourself and everything. And you're taking that away from them. Yeah, you're maybe giving them more money, but you're making them their lives pretty much hell for a couple months, not even just a couple days, months that we're talking about. So that's why I'm a bit hesitating about the fact that, it sucks for them. It really does, it's when we think that they're human beings, and we're telling them, fuck you, you don't deserve to have time off and everything. So, but it's a super competitive environment. Like, a programmer to get in these big companies, you have to be super, super lucky. There's thousands and millions, not even thousands, millions of people that want to work in the video game industry
and would crunch if you don't.
And would crunch. That's the little thing. It's you're not willing to do it, well, other people are, and that's why the developers, CDProjeckt Red or any other companies, they don't give a fuck, because they know people are not gonna say no, because they know that in the back of their minds there would be hundreds and hundreds of people that would be willing to do that job and do the crunch. So people have to go, okay, well, whatever. That's the case, and
I just want to add a little anecdote. It comes from BioWare, right? When they hire new people, they tell them about the BioWare magic in quotation marks, and the BioWare magic comes into place when they go and crunch for the game, and it becomes hell on earth, and everything hurts, everything is painful. But at the end of the day, because of the incredible chemistry and the hard work of the teammates, all that teamwork is gonna make it happen. It's gonna make a great game, and that's the BioWare magic. So that's kind of crazy to me. But yeah. What about you, Jacky? What do you think about the crunch in general?
Yeah, I don't think it's good. I'm not comfortable with that. They announced it. Like for me, I didn't like. We heard some of it for Red Dead Redemption
The Last of
when they
Us,
were.
Uncharted.
Yeah, but yeah, that's the point. I mean, well, Uncharted, when we heard about it, it was like minor. I think it was not as loud as it was for Red Dead Redemption. When they talked about it for Red Dead Redemption, I was more aware of it because I was more reading news about it. So I was like, oh well, that's heavy. But when they said like the conditions for the employees at Naughty Dog for The Last of Us 2 and how they were crunching the employees there, I didn't like it at all. Like I didn't feel good about that. I don't think it's something that should ever happen in this kind of industry. Even though there's a lot of competition, I think, I mean, you have to respect your employees. I mean, at the end of the day, they're the working force. It's because of them that you're able to sell this damn game at the end. So you got to give them credit for that. And if you have to like squeeze the juice until there's none, just because you have to make it to the release date, I don't think that's the way to go. I don't think that that the companies should do that. But I mean, on the other hand,
take a month more.
Yeah, take it. I think I actually this is what I don't understand, but like I do have an hypothesis on why maybe they're doing that. But for example, The Last of Us Part 2, they announced it in December, on December 3rd, 2016. Like this is when they announced it, and it released in 2020, and all this time it was given to like polish the game and to work on it, and every time it was saying, well, we're gonna need more time, and then they said, oh, it's going to release in February 2020, and then they postponed the date, and every time they were just postponing the date. And this is what I don't understand, is that they take so much time, just like they announce a game and then they take all this time and then they have to crunch it. I mean, just announce it later, so like the wait is not as long for people, because at the end I think Naughty Dog, like in their case specifically, like they put themselves in a situation where they were like caught between, you have to release the game, and at the same time you're going to crunch your people and they're not going to like it, and you're going to disappoint the gamers because it's been so long. So I don't know. I don't know what you guys think about that. What
the money, the money.
Yeah, the money.
But yeah, I'm just gonna add some stuff, right? crunch is really something that has existed from like since games existed, pretty much. If you guys know about the infamous ET game that came out in 1982, E.T. was a catastrophic game, a video game adaptation of the big success film of the same name. And the reason why it was so shit and that it got buried into the desert, literally, right? They buried the cartridges that couldn't sell. They took them from the shelves and buried them into the desert. It was crazy. They made the game. And when I say they, I mean the guy. He was one dev doing everything. He made E.T. for the Atari 2600 in 5 weeks because it had to come out for the holidays. 5 weeks. Do you guys know what this is? This is not enough to make anything. So he did a shit game because you can't do anything else, right? It's gonna be shit.
Make a game in 5 weeks.
And yeah, that happened. And I'm gonna talk about a game that I really love, right? A game that I think that is top 10 games of all time. I'm talking about Super Metroid for the Super NES. Super Metroid is a game made by Nintendo, right? And it's probably the worst case of crunch I have ever heard in my life. So just for you guys idea, right? I'm gonna paint you guys a picture. The team was only 17 people. And it took 2 years before the game was done, right? It was really hard. Lots of bugs. The ideas weren't clear. And to adapt for all that extra work that had to be done, they had a nap room with lots of futons lined up. And the staff members took turns sleeping. So sometimes you didn't even know the last time you slept in that team. And on Christmas night, they were, of course, working, right? Not with their family. And they were having a late meal, and they saw people having a good time on the TV news. And they were wondering why they couldn't do that themselves. And they got, like, viscerally angry at the television and at the people on the news that were doing their ski trip at the end of the year. And now they talk about that laughing, like, yeah, man, those days. But when you think about it, they were doing some 48 hours work shifts straight without sleeping. And that hell lasted like, I think, 6 months. And every day was so grueling. They say it was fulfilling. And when it was finally over, the guy like rose up and said, "Guys, it's over! It's over!" They felt so empty inside, but at the end of the day, they have like a strong sense of accomplishment. But like, just imagine that story, right? Imagine. That's your work, right? And you are a human being. You have a family. You have maybe kids. Maybe your wife is going to divorce you because of that, bro. You're not coming back home. They're tired of waiting for your ass. I mean, and that's Nintendo, right? That was back in the Super Nintendo days, and that was back in Japan. But we can talk about Metroid Prime too, a game that came out on the GameCube, and that was done in the USA, Texas, by Retro Studios. Guys, every time Retro, the whole studio, pushed the first level to Nintendo, they would refuse. Nope, not good enough. Go back to the drawing board. It lasted 6 months. 6 months of redoing the first level. And then they had a little under a year to complete the rest of the game. Imagine, guys, imagine the stress, the toll that takes on your health and everything. And I heard so many horror stories, like people, their diet, it transforms, right? You're in the office and you begin to drink 12 Mountain Dews a day and pizza. Like it fucks up your body completely. It's
I think at one point you just stop being productive. I know for a fact that if I work for more than 5 hours without even a small little break, just a little break, just
Yes.
I'm like, I don't work as well.
Kyle, next week you work 120 hours work week, right? The next Monday, will you come refreshed and productive and ready to go?
For sure not. For sure.
So, I mean, I can't be with crunch, right? Even though it's a common practice in that industry and everything, it's inhumane. And the reason why I think it exists is because of poor management. I think that if management wasn't so butthurt on having good numbers for that quarter or something like that, we must get this game out and get those sales for that quarter or for that semester. If they weren't so obsessed by the money, right, and that they could take the time they needed to, I think we would have even better games than what we had.
For sure. I think, it's just unfortunate, but I think the big glaring problem, again, I'm not in the industry, so I can't speak as if, I know 100% of what I'm talking about. It's just me as a fan looking on the outside and giving my opinion, right? You can take it with a grain of salt, but I really think that there's a problem in the gaming industry with their talent because they're not unionized. And I know unionized is this big scary word that scares people and everything, but
voice actor do it, right?
Exactly, everybody does it. Actors do it. All the companies do it, especially when it's like that. When it's like a 40-hour a week job, whatever, you don't need a union, right? It's pretty simple. But when it's like this, when you can, I don't know. I just find it needs, especially for a huge body of workers like that. I think they need unions, and I think they don't just need a union they need global unions. I don't know if that exists, but they need unions,
like,
at least for each country.
Game devs union,
exactly,
for
and not
the
just
USA,
not just for
Canada,
for the sound designers or for everybody.
QA, programmers, artists. I get you.
Because right now that's what sucks, is that there's a high offer of people working in that industry, so they have no leverage. They can't say, hey boss, calm down, we don't want that. They can't, because they know that if they do, ciao, bye bitch, you're out.
Yep.
Here's the next one, right, to take your job, and he's gonna work twice as hard to keep that job until he gets tired and then burns out and then switch, and it's this constant rotation, I think, and that sucks. That's what, if there's no laws, if there's no union, nobody to put their foot down, of course people are going to be stepped on. If you look at before in the 19th century. Yeah, it wasn't 40 hours a week, it was 80-hour weeks, right?
And they were getting a lot of injuries working, right? And
exactly.
They were losing their hands, their legs.
And what happened? People band together. And when they band together, they were able to have more of they had a bigger bargaining chip, and they could actually voice their opinion and voice their miscontent and did the how you call it, the industry collapse and all the industries collapse and disappear? No, they didn't. They adjusted to give people working conditions that are good, and
Yep.
and it's as simple as that.
Because the people that work there are huge fans themselves. They want to
And
work
they'll
there.
be more productive. They have pride of working on these games, and it just sucks that I get to enjoy this beautiful piece of work that people put in hours and hours slaving over this. And that's the word that I don't want to use. I don't want to use that any word anymore. Slave over it, right? I don't want them. I want them to take an extra year, right? Delay it. Do it. I think it's just, and it sucks because this is where I think that we as a consumer have less power, because it never works. It never works voting with your wallet. It doesn't. It's there's too many people. There's not enough people that are aware of the situation. So boycotting and stuff like that, it
The
doesn't
only
work.
time it worked, in my recent memory, was with Star Wars Battlefront 2 and the huge movement that the consumers did.
Oh, absolutely. And but you saw how much it took.
it
was
took
just
so much, bro.
it was year after year people were doing this, and people started getting pissed off of it. But that because it went and had a negative impact on the customer. The customer was getting a game that was either half finished or was filled with microtransaction and was unplayable,
Yep.
right? A crunch, the consumer, who they don't give a shit.
And we
They don't-
didn't even know. Like
You don't
Jacky
even know.
said, it was just like recently that we began to read the news more and more about crunch, because dev become more vocal and it's easier to share in 2020.
Yeah, you spoke about that story from the Metroid team, and you see, I've never heard of that story. And like I said, it's like from 1 or 2 years, I've heard of these stories of crunch and how they exploit the employees. So it's very new to me. I don't know if like I have I had my head in the sand, but it seems to me like we haven't spoken about that subject for a long time.
And it's scary to me because people don't understand how game dev work. Like you have that teammate of yours that does art, right? And he's like, okay, I've updated the model for the character, and I've created that new animation for him every time he jumps, let's say, over some stuff. And I really wanted to see that if it's bugged or if it's something. Could you please program him into the newest build we have? And you're like, bro, it's 11 p.m. I'm at night in bed with my wife where I'm about to sleep. And he's like, bro, you're so fucked up, bro. I can't move on if you don't come and program this shit. And the company tells you overtime is not mandatory, but then your teammate stays overtime and depends on you. It's mandatory, bro. You have to stay with the guy.
Yeah, of course. If you say, oh yeah, it nobody has to. There's one person that's gonna start doing overtime because he needs the money, right? And then the other one decides to do it, and and then when 75% of the people decide that they want to do overtime, the 25% that have it, what are they gonna do? No, I don't want to do it. Of course they do.
Yeah, well, you have this, and you have also like the story at Naughty Dog. What they were saying is that, well, they don't say you have to stay in the office, but what they do is that they promote from inside, and they promote only the people that are staying late. So
Exactly.
it's encouraged, but not directly. So but at the end, it's the same. It's just they're saying, well, if you stay later, you will be paid, and then you have the opportunity to go higher in the ranks. So what do you think when you say, well, I gotta stay? I gotta stay, and then you you work until you're dead.
Bro, the toll it takes on your health, it must be unhealthy.
Yeah,
I'm
for
sure
months and months for sure. Yeah.
it's I'm sure some of people I know like right now I'm not agreeing with this, but some people will say like, but it gives them a sense of accomplishment or whatnot.
And feeling the bonds between the team.
Exactly. I don't think it's untrue. I just think it's like there's a limit to that. There's a limit to how much you could.
I have another
so-
good story, right? It's about a dev team that comes from Canada, Quebec, that made an indie game called The Messenger. It's a 2D platformer where you play as a ninja, right? And it's a cool game. You guys should check it out. But their team is 7 people. And when you're 7 and you are very motivated by your first project and you really want to make it happen, the whole team decided they wanted to crunch. And they did. And they loved it, right? But they're 7, right? You can see the bonds, you can see the people you work with and everything. It's not like when you're working for fucking Ubisoft or EA that you're just one number in an ocean of I don't know how many people, that you just came for a contract to design the models for trees and rocks, and that they're going to end your contract at the end of the dev cycle. How can you feel the bond or anything in those
No, but
kinds of
that's
circumstances?
completely different, as you say. It's really not the same.
Do you guys want to come back to Cyberpunk itself? Like the fact that it got delayed multiple times? Maybe the...
every time I heard the news, Cyberpunk was delayed, my first reaction was, crap.
Yeah, disappointment.
It sucks. But I was always, you know what? Go ahead. Take all the time you need. Take another year. Go on. It's okay to delay your game. It's okay to take your time. It's better that than you giving a crappy game that's filled with bugs, filled with uninteresting or boring stories or crap gameplay. Take your time, polish everything, make it perfect. You will never have a perfect product, because especially in games, it's impossible, right? You cannot. There's always going to be bugs. You're never going to be satisfied with it. But at one point, you get there's always this saying, right, that the first 80% is always the easiest. It takes the almost as much time doing 80% than the last 20%. I forget. I think it's the Pareto thing. Anyways, whatever. It's a thing in economics where
I love that saying.
The Pareto principle that states that many outcomes, roughly 80% of consequences, come from 20%. Anyways, we use that a lot. Anyways, we use that a lot where I work. Anyways, and that's the point. It's that 80%, but there's always that little 20%. That's what you have to comb through everything, and that's what takes time. That's what takes energy to make sure what you've done is good. There's no bugs and everything. So hopefully, with other companies seeing that Cyberpunk has delayed a couple times, that maybe it'll get more into this it'll be natural. People won't be pressured to put up saying, oh yeah, it's gonna come in 2021, and then finally no, it only comes in 2024. Don't say it. Don't release your release date until you're sure about it. And if you're sure, if you put it out and you've had a big setback, like for example coronavirus is a big setback for a lot of companies, right? Well, say, hey, you know what, it's gonna take a bit longer. That's fine. It's okay. It happens, so I prefer that 100%. Now, for sure, if you tell me tomorrow Cyberpunk is going to be delayed, I'll be really disappointed more than I was a year ago, because I'm really looking forward to it. However, if they need to do that to stop either crunches or delivering a bad game, so be it. I'll wait. I'm not 9 years old that I can't, wait a bit for content.
Yeah. What about you, Jacky?
Well, at first, when I looked at Cyberpunk, I said, well, it doesn't look like my type. But I have a lot of respect for CDProjekkt Red. I mean, they did the Witcher Wild Hunt, so gotta give them credit for that. It was a great game, and we spoke about it last week. So maybe I won't be like Kyle. I don't think I'm going to buy it on the release date, but surely if there is if it's a couple of bucks down on the Boxing Day, or maybe later next year, I think I will definitely give it a try. Because I looked at the last trailers, like I said, and it looks interesting, and it looks way better than it looked a couple of years back when they showed the first previews. It looks like a fun open world with different things to do, and definitely an interesting story. So yeah, I'm not going to buy it on November 19th, but yeah, I think Kyle will, right?
Probably, except if the week before there's news and it's like a unanimous decision, people saying it's garbage, like with like I said that for The Last of Us, right? But at least The Last of Us had half the people saying, oh, it's great, and then the other people saying it's garbage. So I want to look at it that way. If I see reviews and everybody says this
It's
is
garbo.
the worst this is the worst game I've ever played, then screw that. I'll play it, but maybe later on, like you said, if it goes on sale. But if I hear good things about it, and they use it, I think they always give at least 1 or 2 weeks before the reviews come out there. So so I'll watch it. I'll watch the review. Even if I'll watch the IGN review, and that's another subject. But I'll just watch it, see what their score is, and if it's 4, I'll be okay. I'll go listen, go see on Reddit, see what's the overall opinion. I don't want to get spoiled or anything, but so I'm open to meet. I mean, I hope not, but if it's a bad game, I ain't gonna play it. So.
Yeah,
Sometimes bad games are bad for some people, but great for others.
Exactly. So like there's some games that maybe I'd love and hate. So we'll see. But most likely, except if there's like a big, it's not good, then I maybe won't buy it. But most likely, I will be buying it day one.
Good. I mean, one of my games that I love to play is a 43 out of 100 on Metacritic. And yeah, it's a great game. It's just that the reviewers didn't know how to play it. It's simple as that. Shoutouts to
100%. I think there is games. For example, one of my favorite games is super decisive, and there's tons of people who hated it. So we'll see.
Yeah. So as for myself, I think the game is super ambitious. I think if it's a role-playing game like for real, I'm probably gonna love it because I love my Japanese role-playing games, and if I can truly roleplay, I'll be good. So.
But you see, what I also like about what it looks like, I like when games have that you can replay them. It's and
replay value is really important.
Replay value. And it looks like there is a bit of replay. Like I'll give you an example, and for example, when you start, you can choose 3 like factions. You want to be like a poor boy, a rich boy, or like a redneck boy or whatever. And like apparently the beginning of the stories are completely different, and the mesh in. I don't know if it's completely true, but there's a amount of gameplay hours that are passed of you doing missions and building the story on just your situation. Means living in the slums, you'll do missions in the slums that if you picked another one, you wouldn't be able to do.
Yeah.
And then after that, you have gangs and stuff. So I think you can maybe prioritize stuff and everything. So hopefully you play it once, you can play it one or two more times. Like that, you can experience the whole story and everything. So I'm excited for that.
It's a single player game, right?
And that's what I'm so excited about, because I find I haven't, like, I've played single player games, like I love them, and I find, haven't gotten too many of them in the past couple of years. I have, but not an enormous amount. And I really like single player games. I really like them just for the fact that you don't have to depend on anybody else. You can just say, okay, I want to play right now, and you get to play an hour or two. So I'm excited.
Yeah, man. Just like when I try to play some Naruto and Jacky doesn't want to come, man. I swear to God. Fighting games, man. You gotta be
you
two.
Do me like that? You do me like that? Ah, God.
My man prefers Among Us, man. I'm like, bro.
Yo, Among Us is about mind games. Every time we play Naruto, I whoop your ass. So what do you want?
We'll see next time. We'll see. Well, next homework is gonna be special because it's something that 2 out of 3 know about, and the other doesn't. But it's been a while since I've gone back and experienced it again for myself. I'm talking, of course, about Studio Ghibli's incredible Princess Mononoke.
I'm also super excited about it. I've already watched it. I'm gonna rewatch it because it's one of my favorite movies. I love it. I find it's incredible. It's a bit weird. I'll be honest. There was when I watched it the first time. I remember I was young when I first watched it, so I'll talk about my second viewing, which I was much older, and I was able to grasp what the hell was happening there.
Yeah.
But I was just like, what a weird movie. But I find the message that comes out of that, just the music, the tone, just the world, the way it's drawn. It's a beautiful, beautiful movie, and I really enjoy it. It's one of my favorite movies, and I'm excited that exactly out of all of us here, there's one person who hasn't seen it, and I'm excited to see his opinion about it.
It's gonna be fire, man.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about it. I have high anticipations for this movie. I mean, you guys talk about it very highly. So yeah, I'm excited to see it and to talk about it afterwards.
Good. And anything else, guys, to end on?
Yeah, well, I think maybe we should there's a special thing that's going to happen next week. So we've got this new section for the podcast, which is basically one of the members is going to arrive at the podcast with an unknown subject to the others. Like the others are not going to know what he's going to speak about, and then he's going to ask them about their opinions about this subject. So we usually what we do for these podcasts is that we come in, we're prepared, and we know about what's going to be the main subject, and we discuss about it. But I think it's going to be interesting if someone comes with a subject that is unknown to the others, and then he just brings it up as a surprise, and then we start discussing it, and it's maybe more heated.
Surprise topics.
I'm gonna like it because it'll be when you know what subject you're gonna talk about, you already have a little idea whatnot, and so I always like surprises there. So I'm excited to see the next week what you're gonna bring to the table.
It's gonna be me, and it's gonna be a massive curveball. So think about it.
Well, I'm excited then.
Well, all right.
Maybe we should prepare another subject just in case we don't like his.
Oh,
yeah,
boy.
maybe a backup or something. Well, we still got the movie review. Don't forget your homework. Princess Mononoke is the movie homework this week. So next week we're going to do the movie review. And then if Mo's subject is interesting enough, then we'll discuss it. But if somehow it's not, I doubt it, honestly. I think it's going to be interesting for all of us. But if somehow it's not as interesting as we thought, yeah, maybe we can have like a backup plan or something we can speak about.
No, I think we're gonna be
Have
okay
some
with it.
faith, I swear to God.
I believe in him. He's gonna be able to get us a good
I
subject there.
swear, my dude, if you speak about that Xenoblade game, I'm gonna instant disconnect, like on the spot.
Doo-doo. Gone. He got out of the chat. Okay. Well, I think it's gonna
now
be it.
he's gonna shit. I have to change subjects.
That's gonna be a good highlight clip.
I guess.
Okay.
All right.
Until next time, everyone. Take care. Bye bye.
Ciao.
Yeah.